I would just keep pushing hard until I hurt myself. Is it going to fix the issue? Is something going to help me? Like, there's always that health fear. Within 1 month, my heart issue started to diminish a bit. Within 4 or 5 months, the cardiologist basically said, "You're good to go. You don't need to see me anymore." Posture was starting to change a little bit. Strength was starting to refocus into different areas. And then the heart stuff clicked. Nutrition's always been a challenge for me. I think my internals do like to hold on to weight. It felt weird to feel healthier, to eat more. It was counterintuitive. One of the things that I've noticed with growth here is I know when to stop.
To explain, there's this pizza place in Berkeley that's called, what's it called?
Amelia's,
where they're only open for like a couple hours a day. He has one pizza that he does it all by himself, and it's relatively expensive.
No, you get to choose which kind. He has a menu that you can choose from.
Oh,
but
okay.
he has a finite set of doughs that he produces.
Got it. So apparently this pizza is like supposed to be the best pizza in the country, according to some newspaper article. I don't know. Anyways, I've thought about going there, and it just seems like too much of a fuss. And I mentioned it, and Lucio said, "Well, I wanted to actually work there," and it's fascinating because you saw something like you liked that had nothing to do with what you do for a living, and you thought, I have to learn about that. Is that a theme?
Sort of. I try to do things that I enjoy. And I think very few people would say they don't enjoy pizza. So his pizza is really good, and he had a very unique style and a very unique way of going about it. So I kind of got drawn into that and built up the courage to go talk to him about it. And that didn't pan out, but it was an interesting experience. And plus, their pizza is good. So the consolation is still pretty excellent.
I just find that fascinating because most people would be kind of turned off by this guy who clearly doesn't want to interact with people, and you're thinking, I'm going to go learn from this guy.
Yeah, he was his pizza's really good, and I thought his whole approach to the whole thing was great, and I was kind of drawn to that and went to talk to him about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you were kind of drawn to us.
Yes, quickly, or not quickly, but the parts of the story that drew me in here was I had a piece of my life that wasn't clicking, so I wasn't feeling great, and the doctor basically was saying, "Hey, you got some things you got to work on." And I had gone to a machines gym, is the word I like to call it, or the term I like to use. And I had been doing that for a year. I was definitely getting stronger, but I wasn't feeling better. So the issues that I was having, like high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, things like that kept going, even though I was working out I think it was 6 days a week.
Yeah, I remember you telling me you worked out all the time, and it just wasn't getting better.
Yeah, I didn't feel good. So then what's interesting is I evaluated different gyms in the area. This one had a lot of folks local that I saw that were in my community coming. And so I gave this place a shot, and it worked out really well. Within 1 month, my heart issue started to diminish a bit. And then within 4 or 5 months, the cardiologist basically said, "Yeah, you're good to go. You don't need to see me anymore."
Wow.
And that's how that went.
Yeah, that's crazy. So like I guess a year before you started here, you were doing nothing, or?
I went to the gym occasionally.
Yeah.
Occasionally means not regular, and it's the kind of gym regular where when you go, you get really sore after because you haven't done it in a while, kind of regular.
Just enough to get sore.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I started going about 6 days a week, and even though I was getting stronger, it wasn't helping me feeling better.
So you started going 6 days a week because of the health issues you were having, or so it was like some sort of wake up call. The doctor said you better do something about this.
For me specifically, the heart issues, I could feel them. So it felt not great, and when that happens, it wakes you up. It shocks you and scares you. That's the best way I can put it. and it puts you into action pretty quickly when you have that kind of feedback coming from your body.
Yeah.
But working out felt great. It's just I didn't see the improvement on the cardio side of things, and then that changed pretty quickly here.
Yeah.
Another great thing is I was pretty strong coming in, but also not just the cardio stuff, but also the techniques that I learned, the right way to do things here. I became stronger, even though I had already been going to the gym quite a bit.
Yeah. Christina, do you remember what Lucio's first day was like?
It's interesting. I don't remember Lucio's first day, but one day I do remember is I think Manuel was deadlifting, and Manuel's a strong guy. Like he had the bar loaded up, and Lucio, you were just watching him, and you're like, I'm going to do that one day with such certainty. I was like, dang, that is conviction. And that's how you approach things. Like going back to that pizza store, you're like, I'm going to go talk to that guy. And like in the gym too, like, I want to do this. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first day or first couple of weeks were like?
Yes, I definitely remember baseline and stretching, and I remember them saying, "This is not very good flexibility." I do, and I've always struggled with that my whole life, but very specifically here, that's been something that I worked on quite a bit, and it's improved definitely since I've started.
Was there any sort of hesitation or like fear when you started?
Yes, in the beginning, is it going to fix the issue? Is something going to help me? Like there's always that health fear. But in terms of how I felt coming in and the community that was here that welcomed me pretty easily, that was easy. There wasn't any fear there. It was mostly my own doubts of myself and being able to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How long were you like showing up before you started to notice some change?
I would say in the first month.
The
first month is when I started to notice, that since the movements you do in a machines gym is definitely different than you do here. Once I got through the mechanics of that and the soreness kind of goes away a little bit, then I immediately could tell just posture was starting to change a little bit, and strength was starting to refocus into different areas. And then the heart stuff clicked like right around that same exact time.
Yeah. Could you just feel it, or was there did you see numbers that were changing, or?
So I got an Apple Watch. This is an interesting thing. No, Apple does. I don't work for Apple, but I got an Apple Watch when I started working at the machines gym, and I was tracking things like resting heart rate, what my heart rate was during exercise, things like that. There's a dramatic difference in the max heart rate from this type of exercise versus machines gym exercise. That I noticed right away, and that's where I felt improvement really, really quickly. This is not a negative at all, but the amount of sweat that you produce is way higher here, and I think that correlates to the cardio. But I don't know how to explain this much more than it's like a product of your effort. You're sweating, so you're putting in the work, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And so that was a big deal. But 1 month, and then within a month, I noticed that the irregularities lessened and lessened.
Yeah.
And then, I think it was maybe 5 weeks. By week 5, it had gone away.
Wow.
And then once I got over the anxiety of it going away and what's going on, then after about 3 more months or 4 more months, the cardiologist said we've tracked it and everything has gone well. So I've tracked my max heart rate, and that continues to get better, and my resting heart rate also continues to drop month after month.
What was it when you started?
I think it was in the low 70s or mid 70s. Now it's in the low 60s, close to 60.
Nice. Yeah, that's amazing. And this is you went to the cardiologist. Did he say, hey, go do, go lift weights and do all this stuff? Did he recommend any of this stuff, or was that your own kind of discovery or research?
They definitely told me to take medicines.
Yeah.
Heart arrhythmia medicines, and to be nothing against my cardiologist, but it made me feel worse. And I actually started getting substituted symptoms for the original symptoms, like other things started clicking in. So the exercise is definitely something they recommended.
Yeah.
And I felt better doing that. So I kind of stuck with that more. And by month 4, there was no need for any medicine. That was all in the past by then.
Yeah. So you were taking medicine that, 4 months in, you were able to get off of it.
By month 2, I was able to completely get off of it. By month 4, they're like, you don't ever need to go back on it now. You're done.
Wow. That's incredible. That is incredible. Did you also make changes to nutrition?
I did, definitely, and I'm continuing to do so. That's always something. I'm actually on Monday we're going to start another challenge, which it's one of those things where nutrition's always been a challenge for me. I think my internals do like to hold on to weight.
Yeah.
Not just me, but that's like a family thing. We all kind of have that predisposition. But on Monday, I'm giving it full attention. I know it's gonna happen because that's what happens when I fully focus on things.
So I want to go back to that. Actually, I like that. So when you started, like, what was your nutrition like, and then how did it change, up till now?
So protein levels, definitely. I increased protein quite a bit working out here.
Yeah.
Also talking to folks in the gym and finding out what works for them. I found something that really works for me, which is the hydrolyzed whey protein. It doesn't upset me.
Yeah.
And it's very well tolerated, and you need less of it to get the same macro benefit. It works great.
Yeah. So before this, you weren't, paying attention to protein. Had you made any diet changes after this kind of scare, or?
I did. I started cutting down sugar quite a bit and fats quite a bit, but my body liked to hold on to it. And for some reason, the cardiovascular piece didn't click with the nutrition. So I definitely think that first 2 to 4 month period with the nutritional changes, the higher protein, the cardiovascular workouts, I definitely think that those all contributed to the heart healthiness.
So you were eating more when you started? You started eating more?
Yes, I started eating more here. When I started working out here, it was eating the right things in the right proportions. But yes, overall, it was more, and it was an adjustment at first.
Really?
It felt weird to feel healthier, to eat more. It was counterintuitive for me, but it worked.
Yeah. That's so crazy. But I mean, you were also getting in better shape.
Yeah, everything started to click, I would say. Around month 2, I got over the mental block of eating more doesn't mean you'll get bigger.
Yeah.
So that took some mental undoing.
Yeah. So, I mean, and just looking at some of the numbers here, like you've lost 8 pounds of body fat, you've decreased your body fat percentage, you've obviously gotten stronger with a lot of the stuff. And, your lean body mass has like stayed stable as you've done this. What was the hardest part for you going through this process?
For the nutrition, you mean?
From the nutrition or from the training, like what's been some of the challenges you've faced?
So I have, this is just me personally, and those of you that know me kind of know that sometimes I do a all or nothing kind of mentality. I tend to go really hard on things. And so one of the things that I've noticed with growth here is I know when to stop. So that was definitely a problem I had at the previous gym and just in general with life. I don't have it completely solved yet, but I'm definitely getting better at it. But so like if I'm, for example, in the machines gym, I would just keep pushing hard until I hurt myself. And that didn't happen often, but it did happen. And here now I'm starting to learn when to back off and when my body's feeding that information back to me.
Yeah.
It's a little different when you're getting older because I don't know where those boundaries are, especially my age is that age where I start to transition into I can't do everything that I want to do anymore. So definitely that's part of my maturation process here is starting to recognize healthy wise in a healthy way to recognize where my limits are.
Yeah. How did you do that? Did you just like hurt yourself a few times and then back off, or like?
That's part of it, but also coaches' feedback and everyone else in the gym's feedback. They'll feedback when it's like, oh, I want to do this. It's like, no, you were just doing this the other day. Today, let's refocus on this area so you don't aggravate it. This, and then it'll be something to the effect of, this is something that can affect you because of the volume, not necessarily the weight. So then those are the types of mature kind of health conversations that I never had before. I never learned those differences.
Did you find, Coach, that you had to pull Lucio back quite a bit?
Well, now that you mentioned, I do remember a little bit of your baseline on your first day and how hard you went on that row. The first thing you do is a 500-meter row.
Yeah.
And if you go all out on that row, you still have a lot more work to do. And that's kind of, I don't know, that's been his journey, is like you went really hard at the beginning. And I think part of it is like you're also curious. Like you just want to see how far far is my threshold? How much can I push? But definitely a lot of that progress has been like, okay, knowing when to push. I think that's been the biggest takeaway, is like, okay, I don't have to give 100% every time. So let me see when are the opportunities that I can really push my threshold.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. So what are you, over the course of this, you've kind of stopped taking a lot of the medications, you've fixed the heart issue, and you've added, 150 pounds to your back squat and 50 pounds to your bench press and all these other things. What are you most proud of that you've accomplished here?
I think I take the most pride in is the Echo bike. And it's a great story. When I came here, it was one of the rower and the Echo bike are just, they're equalizers. They make everybody hard. It's hard for everybody. And the Echo bike was extremely hard for me in the beginning. I remember I was, 10 calories a minute was hard, and then 20 calories a minute was hard. And then I just decided I'm going to make it my thing. And I've done that. So my most celebrated is probably the 50 cal challenge that I did about a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And I was able to do 50 calories in less than 2 minutes.
Wow. That's incredible. That hurts me even to think about. Doing.
It definitely challenged me for sure. But now it's like, now that I know, and now I have a new limit, and I like train to it now. Like it's what I really enjoy that. So then I know next year I'm going to try and do it in less time, and then just keep doing it.
Yeah. You seem to have a very systematic approach to things.
The way I attack things, definitely I have a system, which is push hard. The issue that I have is when is it appropriate and when to back off. That's the hard part.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were, it sounds like you're also very kind of thoughtful before you kind of decide where to put all of that energy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it sounds like you have some new goals now. Like what are your goals now?
Well, there's one that Coach Christina and I have been working on for a while, and that's the 1,000-pound club. I'm going to try to get to that.
What's that?
A 1,000-pound club is 3 separate weightlifting exercises that, with the combined weights, you try to get to 1,000 pounds. Those are bench press, back squat, and deadlift.
Nice.
So if I can get all 3 of those to total 1,000, then that's another T-shirt that I can wear that I like to wear.
We got to get a T-shirt like that.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that. What would it be for women? Would
know.
it also be a 1,000-pound club? That'd be a strong woman.
That would be very strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We gotta get a shirt like that. What kind of results have you seen outside of the gym? What are some of the things that you've noticed, that are maybe not necessarily fitness related, that have changed in your life?
So there's confidence for sure. The 50 cal challenge, I got a shirt when I wear it around, and people ask me about it. Makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And people that know, which is kind of cool. And some people are like, I can't believe you did that. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But confidence, even at home, my kids see that I put a lot of effort to something, and there's results, like physical changes. Because I'm healthier, I am more available to my kids and my wife, which is great. Like that's a life check mark. That's a big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, my kids, they go like, "Oh, my daddy's a strong daddy." It's kind of cute and fun.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I remember when you came in too, I think that was one of your goals, was just to have more energy to play with your kids. And I think one time you told me, you said, it's just so much easier to get off the floor. Like when I play with them, it's not, it's not painful.
Absolutely, yeah. The cardio lets me, the fitness that I have, especially with my heart stuff, it's night and day difference. Like I can, if the kids want to play soccer for a half hour to an hour, like that's not a problem. I can do that, and that's totally fine. Now that they're getting older and bigger and heavier, it's a little bit more difficult, but that comes with the territory.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I sometimes take this for granted because we have just a bunch of fit adults in here and they can do all this like amazing stuff. But really, like the reason you're doing it is to be able to do stuff like that, and a lot of parents can't do that. They're sitting on the sidelines during the soccer games. They can't get involved, and that's kind of where they relegate themselves.
I'm a family guy. I'm pretty attached to my family, my nuclear family and my extended family. This, a lot of this has to do with the fact that I kind of want to be around for that kind of stuff for a long time. And that's why I do it. That's a major driver.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, so we have a series of rapid fire questions that we like to finish the podcast off with. They're kind of silly, but Coach Christina is going to go through them here.
Okay.
So you just give a quick answer to each question, all right? Whatever comes into mind.
Sure.
Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
No.
Dawn or dusk?
Dusk.
Can you say no in an Australian accent?
Noi.
That was pretty good. Ask for permission or forgiveness?
Permission.
What genre of movie is your life? Comedy, drama, romance, horror?
Comedy, for sure.
Would you rather always have to hop like a bunny or squawk like a parrot?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably hop like a bunny.
Drake or Kendrick?
Oh, Kendrick, for sure.
What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in public?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on a podcast. That's going to be put on the internet. But, most embarrassing thing in public? I think my brain is specifically blocking out memories, so I can't recall. I can't think of one, actually.
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Especially for rapid fire.
Rapid fire. In the event that you had something on mind. All right, last question. What's something that always makes you laugh?
There's always a good movie from like the 80s or 90s. There's some really great funny movies from that time that always make me laugh.
Yeah, back when movies used to be funny. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I love it. So, Lucio, I just have two more questions for you. What advice do you have for someone like you a year ago, a little more than a year ago now, who was thinking of starting on a similar journey like this?
So there would be two things I would, basically, if I was to tell myself something like, or someone in my situation, it's don't put it off. You're missing out on a lot of valuable time. Also, you're spending probably a lot of that time worrying about things. So the quicker you're doing the right thing, then you can start to feel better about yourself. And then I think everything else kind of starts to click into place when you do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of freeing.
Yeah, I love that. All right, last question. If we do this interview 1 year from now, what will you want to say that you've accomplished?
A year from now, I'd like to say that I have 1,000-pound club. I'd like to say that I'm able to get a little bit healthier, maybe drop a little bit of weight and look a little different there and improve my health. Those are the two. I'd say those are the two big ones.
Awesome. Lucia, I appreciate you taking the time to share your story. I've always appreciated the energy that you bring when you come in here and you just work really hard and you're focused and you get it done. And I just think it's really inspiring what you've been able to do in such a short amount of time. So, yeah, man, appreciate you.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I appreciate everybody here, especially my coach. That's the big pull. That's what helps get me through.
We're super proud of you, Lucio.
Well, thank
Keep it
you.
up.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. We will see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, we've got plenty of others. Go check out this one over here.